Hey guys, it's your girl, Annette Harris. I am the CEO of GetcaughtinANet Incorporated and also the host of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette. Coming to talk to you about the next Get Caught in a Net Experience 2021. Yes, that's right, a new segment entitled The Psychology of Poverty. I'm so excited about this segment because it's going to talk about its effects on your mental health. Wednesday, April 14th. Now listen, the time has changed to 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, and my special guest is Treciere Hill Sr. of World Financial Group. He's an awesome financial professional who is concerned about you and bridging the gap one family at a time. That's right, building that generational wealth. And again, I need you to meet me Wednesday, April 14th at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is what you have been waiting for. Don't disappoint me. Meet me that evening. Again, time change, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. And we are waiting on you to get caught in a net.
You are now tuned in to Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, where your host, Annette Harris, analyze intriguing life questions and concerns, such as, do Christians suffer from mental illness? Have you wondered why they act abnormal? Or you may ask, what is really going on in their minds? Do you need Annette? Well, keep listening for a biblical understanding of the psychology of the mind.
Hey, welcome, guys. Hey. It's your girl, Annette. I'm in the evening tonight. I am in the virtual house. I am your host of Mind, Body, and Soul with Annette, Get Caught in a Net, and waiting on you guys to come on in. Listen. This is a very special segment. So we decided we would give it a special time. And I know you were probably looking for me. Well, hopefully you weren't, because you did see the Pro Bowls. At 12 noon, I normally air on every Wednesday, but we are here this evening and we are going to present to you some dynamic material, awesome, so that you, oh my God, you won't be left behind. How about I use that? Yeah, you will not be left behind. I'm excited because my guest is my friend and my brother. I call him my little brother, Treciere Hill Sr. And I have to distinguish the senior because there is a junior. How are you doing on this evening?
I'm doing wonderful. And before I begin, let me put on my customized Annette mask. I love you. Somebody tried to take my mask from me, and then I showed them that my name is on the mask, so they cannot take it.
So they were trying to take the mask with it.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, I'm so glad that you received that. And it's just my show of appreciation for, thanking you for supporting Mind, Body, and Soul. I appreciate you. And the time that we live in now, what else do we need but a mask, So shout out to Faith Brown, A Touch of Faith Creations actually prepared those, made those masks for us. So I know a few of you have them and wear them, okay? Make sure you guys wear them. So we're excited. I'm so excited to be here tonight. This young man here, oh my goodness. And I was trying to look to see if I had a bio on you. I had one from 3 years ago, and I didn't even ask you for one for tonight. So I'm going to ask you before we get started to tell everybody about who Treciere Hill is. Some of you may remember that I did have him on my show. I think it's been about 3 years, in 2018. We had you and your lovely wife, Carmen, on, along with Mr. Pardo. And you came in, we actually came into the studio. That's when we could,
Yes.
mingle or whatever. Those were the days. No, but seriously, we had you on and you talked about World Financial Group, which is what you're a part of. And your motto then was what is it? Saving one family. What is it? Tell me the
No
motto.
family left behind.
No family left behind. I'm going to give you a new motto. I'm so sorry about that. Don't mean to do that. But yeah, we did have you on, and you all three of you came and shared with us some very important information that we need to know and take in, regarding our finances and some things that we probably never even thought about. My goodness, it was actually very, very inspirational. Now, I am going to have him introduce himself, but let me tell you why we're doing this particular segment. It is a necessity, number one. Number two, the psychology of poverty is actually, and I have to give a little credit here. It was the brainchild of Anthony Harris, and he presented me with it. And I said, okay. So, I prayed about it. And then, I'm telling you, before you do things, I'm always asking, Lord, okay, how do you want me to do it? What do you want me? And when I tell you, the Lord started just showing different ways or what to do exactly. And then things just started falling in place. And I'm like, okay, this is it. So I said, well, you know what? We're going to do a segment. We're going to introduce a new segment on Mind, Body, and Soul. But I want my first guest to be Marcus. I actually, Anthony, I talked about that.
Honored.
I wanted you to be the first guest so we can get this going. Now, I see you guys coming on, and I did not say to you to please share. So if you would do that for me, I'm going to ask you to click that share button, and I'm going to ask you. I see you guys. You all are so sweet. I appreciate you. Share it, throw out the love, emoticon, the thumbs up, the care button, and let us know that you are here on tonight. Throw a little, blurb in there saying that you're here. And I see that you're doing that, and I'd appreciate it. Because again, this is something you need. This is something you've been waiting for. And you may say, well, I didn't tell you that, but trust me, this is what you've been waiting for. And Karen, I see you on. I also see Apostle Seawood. We appreciate you. Sherban, hey, little sis, we appreciate you. Buddy Gill has joined us. Carolyn is on here on tonight. And I know that there are more. I can't see the other names, but I do appreciate all of you. So make sure you click that share button. So again, we're going to ask Marcus to go ahead and introduce himself and talk to us about who he is. He is a financial professional. And after he introduces himself, then we're going to bring all of this in together, what we're all talking about on tonight, the psychology of poverty, and then moving on to see what we could do. I'm so excited. God is doing some great things. I'm telling you. Yes, I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Annette, God always does some great things when you have any of your shows. Thank you for having me on. I'm honored. Anytime I get a chance to come on your show, because I know your show reaches a lot of people and your show talks about the real stuff versus the fluff stuff. So I'm honored. I'm glad to be here. Glad to talk to the audience, even if it's just for a little bit. My name is Marcus Hill. I've been a financial professional for the last 15 plus years. Financial professional means I educate people on money and finance, how money works, how you can use it to your favor, how you can stay away from some of the money traps that are out there. And I've been doing it for a while now. I learned a lot through life. I learned a lot through being a bill collector. I was a bill collector before I became a financial professional. And I learned a lot about when people owe money, how they act. And it's been a very good ride. God's blessed us a lot over and over, year after year, to help a lot of our families achieve financial independence, help a lot of our families learn a little bit more about how to navigate certain avenues to make sure they reach their financial goals. And we're still doing it. We're going stronger now.
Love it. I love it. And that's all you're going to say, huh? Lord Jesus. He's got so much under his belt. Look, I'm waiting. I'm just, I'm like, okay, well, she's going to tell me. But But I don't know if he's trying to be modest or what. Were you going to add to that?
I have to say something. So Carmen, my lovely lady, Carmen told me you're going to be on the net show. Keep it professional and keep your answer, because she knows I can go strong. So I'm gonna just respond to the.
So hard, Carmen. Oh my God, I don't know if you're watching right now, but that is hilarious. Oh my goodness. But you know how wives do. We always have to give you a little, prep, make sure that you
Yes, ma'am.
make sure that you are in line. But that was funny. That was really funny. I see my sister has joined us. Thank you so much, Gwendolyn. Carolyn, you have your background, I believe, in finance. Well, at least at the church you do. So I'm so glad that you're here with us on tonight as well. So let's do this. I'm gonna like kind of introduce this actual subject and how it ties in with Marcus and his expertise as a financial professional. And I'm going to actually share with you some stats and some information regarding the psychology of poverty. And, it's, I mentioned to Marcus before I came on tonight, how much of a psych nerd I am. And when I was doing my research, it understanding when I sit down to do research and understanding why everything is like it is or how it comes together, it excites me. That's just me. So it is some exciting information. So I mean, you may or may not feel that way when you're listening to this, but this is why some things are happening, because what I tell you and what I share with you, it may not, all of it may not feel or sound good to you, but the reason Marcus and I are here tonight is so that we can find solution and resolution and or help to direct you in that vein. So that I wanted to start it off with that. Now, there is a quote that I want to actually read, and I kind of paraphrase it a little bit. Poverty is man-made. It depletes one of creativity and strength. And that quote, I must give acknowledgement to Dr. Lord Michael Hunt. I have been listening to him, and my goodness, he has been really, that was another avenue, Marcus, that the Lord confirmed tonight's show through as well, because of what he's actually been teaching for the past few days.
Yes, ma'am.
Or I don't know if it started last week or not, but it just amazed me. So keep that in mind. Poverty is man-made. It depletes one of creativity and strength. And I thought that was very, very wise of him to say and share that with us. So listen, okay. There is an article that talks about the psychology of poverty, the chicken or the egg. So I'm going to ask you guys a few questions here, okay? And Marcus, you can answer as well, or I don't know, be intrigued by it, if you will. So listen to this. And now let me ask you, do you think that poverty can lead to a negative state of mind? Or does a negative state of mind lead to poverty?
Oh, let me unpack that bag real quick.
Yeah, you can unpack it. Does poverty lead to a negative state of mind, or does a negative state of mind lead to poverty? And you guys, please join in with your responses to everything that we share on tonight. Any questions that we ask you, if you just want to throw in your comments, I'm going to jump over and make sure you guys are. I'm reading what you are putting out there as well. What did you come up with anything, Mark?
Yeah.
Mr. Hill.
No, Mark is cool. Both, I believe both. Ooh. To an extent. Okay. There's statistics out there that show what close to most people worry about. It's lack of money. And that causes stress, that causes worry, that causes health problems. And it's a big group of people that worry about that. So does poverty, okay, because that question was almost a Twilight Zone. I love that sounding question, the reverse. Does ask that question one more time.
Does poverty lead to a negative state of mind?
There we go.
Or does a negative state of mind lead to poverty?
Yes. So the lack of money, lack of finances leads to a negative state of mind, because that's all what you worry about. You spend most of your day worrying about it, and it becomes a habit, and then that's all you think about. It comes off in the way you talk, walk, everything. And then a negative state of mind leads to poverty, because that's almost what poverty is: negative state of mind, lack of. And I've seen people who just are negative. They'll complain about this, won't come up with a solution, and then it ends up showing in their results of whatever they're going for. And a lot of the times that ends up being poverty financially, poverty mentality, so forth and so on.
Okay. All right. I like that. Let's hop over here to Facebook. What are you guys saying? Gwendolyn says, I believe poverty can lead to a negative state of mind, but not the reverse. Ooh. Can you explain that a little bit further, Gwendolyn, why you say that? We've already heard Marcus. He says it can be both. Carolyn says here, a negative state of mind leads to poverty, I think. And that's interesting. Those are two different answers. Gwen's response was, I know negative rich people. So rich people that have a negative state of mind. Interesting.
Yes. So,
okay, but did it lead them? Did that negative state of mind lead them? Now I'm going somewhere else. Did that negative state of mind lead them to being rich, or? Yeah. Again, the title of this was the chicken or the egg, which comes first. So honestly, just to give my opinion, okay, Siobhan says negative state of mind leads to poverty. Okay. All right. This is, I want to hear some more people. You guys throw in your responses to that question, because we're going to unpack this. We're not going to leave you. We're going to unpack this. I kind of think that I'm kind of in agreement with Marcus, that it can be on both ends. Buddy says here, I'm inclined to agree that a poverty mind leads to a negative state of mind. That poverty, you threw an extra word in there, sorry, buddy. I'm inclined to agree that poverty leads to a negative state of mind. Many of us are a product of our exposure in life, and some are confined or choose to be confined to our exposure. And that's deep. Okay. All right.
Annette, can I say something?
Please.
I can guarantee over however long we're on this segment, we're about to go down so many different rabbit holes. I'm just holding my tongue for about a good 2 more minutes. And then we go, yeah.
Please don't hold your tongue. If you want to say something else to that, please do.
So poverty mentality, here's the definition of poverty mentality. Poverty mentality is a mindset that people develop over time, based on a strong belief that they'll never have enough money. Right. So and usually that mentality is driven by fear, poor financial decisions, and it's usually a long period of time worth of being in that mindset. So the word poverty in itself, most people will relate it to finances, right? And it has a lot to do with finances a lot of times. But you can have a poverty mentality, and that just opens up a whole other can, right? You can have money, but still have a poverty mentality. And you can be kind of not as wealthy as the next man, but still be fulfilled. So it's when you start throwing in the mindset and your mentality, and it because you're a advocate of mental health, it just changes the dynamic of things. And
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to throw something else out. Gwendolyn says, but the question was not poverty mentality.
Right.
Rather poverty itself.
Right.
Now that is accurate. That is the distinguishment of that question. And Now, I believe the first that you, as I was looking further in this this particular article, it was saying, and I actually agree with it, that both of them are definitely connected. There's a connection, which is kind of what you were saying, a little bit earlier, Marcus. So let's look at this. The psychology of poverty is another facet of poverty's debilitating toll on individuals. And you kind of, mentioned that, Marcus. Now, there was an article that in the Association for Psychological Science that states that people who deal with stressors like poverty and discrimination are more susceptible to physical and mental disorders. So that's how they're connected and that's how they're related. And so we can't separate it, basically. Not literally. Right. Carolyn says here, I can be in a state of poverty or being without, but I am not thinking negative about my situation, but actually trying ways to get out of poverty. And that could be too. So, and I want to say, let me mention this, that none of you, there's no wrong answer here. So I don't want anybody's like, oh no, but so there's no wrong answer in that sense. Let's see. Okay, let's talk about our children and how they grow up. Children who grow up poor, in poverty, basically there are, you talk about the different parts of the brain that are affected. Okay. So you talk about the hippocampus and the amygdala, all those are affected when you grow up in poverty. It affects the size of it. And so for those of you who don't necessarily know or remember what the hippocampus is and the roles that it plays in our brain and also the amygdala. So the hippocampus is part of the limbic system. It plays important roles in the consolidation of information from short-term memory to long-term memory and spatial memory. The amygdala is involved in many of our emotions and motivations. And particularly, and this is something to keep in mind, those that are attached to survival.
Oh.
Yeah. So of course it processes different emotions like fear, anger, and all of that. That's what the amygdala does. I've always liked that name. I like to say that name all the time. The amygdala, okay. No, but so these are affected when you live in poverty. And they're also affect our cognitive stimuli, if you will, are affected when you live in poverty. Yep. And so the examples of cognitive stimuli, books, computers, yes. Those resources, they are affected when you're living in poverty. I mean, think about it. Even going through this pandemic, when the children were home, I know some of them have started going back to school, but when they were home, there was this argument that, okay, you still have these that are in poverty that they don't have internet. They don't have, computers.
Right.
They don't have the resources to learn their schoolwork. Right. Something as simple as that. So, that always like hurt my heart. And you can see like it, bother other individuals too, like those who are movie stars. Some of them, they went and bought computers for a whole bunch of children or something like that. But those things are affected as well. Did you want to, you can kind of interject as I'm talking. You look eager, but I want you to say something.
So let me apologize because because your audience reaches everybody, all different colors, all different shapes and sizes. But my mind sometimes tend to veer towards my beautiful Black kings and queens, what we're going through, and then relate that towards that. So I know the topic was not in the Black community, but do you mind if I kind of
I don't mind at all. Matter of fact, this is what we're bringing out tonight. So I'm just, giving these stats, and actually, a lot of these stats can, be attributed to our Black and brown brothers and sisters.
Yes.
So yes, definitely. And I'm gonna, and I don't even know if when I asked him to introduce himself, if he even talked about Black Wall Street, because this young man is really, really pumping up. He's really trying to do something in bringing Black Wall Street back, if I can just say it just as simple as that. So he's doing different seminars and trying to pull his resources together, those who have expertise in certain areas, to talk about this, to bring this back. This is of great importance to him. So this is another reason why he, asked to kind of focus on that area. So yes, by all means, please go ahead.
Thank you, and I appreciate that. Thank you for bringing that up, because I was actually going to slide on in there. Yes, we've been doing for a little over a year now. It's been amazing how many of our people didn't know about Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the race riot that happened. But the word Black Wall Street flies around a lot, but a lot of people still don't know exactly what happened. Black Wall Street was one of the wealthiest towns in America in the 1900s. What happened was after slavery, segregation started, and then Black people were free to go do what they wanted to do, or do what they needed to do. And they migrated to Greenwood, Tulsa, Oklahoma. And around that time, there was an oil rush, right? They discovered oil there, but none of the Black people can own any of the oil rigs, but they could work in the factories, right? Black people around that time were not allowed to go to grocery stores in the white neighborhood, shop, go get gas, all that stuff. So they had to create it within themselves. Mm-hmm. And this is where Black Wall Street was created. Over 600 businesses in the span of about 15 years got built just like that, because of certain aspects that were included in there. Number one, it was the necessity, right? We had to find a way to do it. So we came up with our own brilliance and did it ourselves. Right. And then the circulation of money, the velocity of money, because our money, people weren't wanting our dollars. We started spending them around ourselves. Right. That dollar circulated from one place to another. And that's where the wealth grew so fast. Right. It's called the velocity of money. That dollar circulation it's been circulated for over a year in Black Wall Street. And to this day, that dollar has not been that record has not been beaten. Black Wall Street holds that record to this day. And that shows what happens when Black people stop living under the story of everyone else, that everyone else tells about us. Right? We're great. We're wonderful. We showed it. That's just one of the examples, Black Wall Street. So that's what we're teaching now. We're trying to bring that same aspect to every community, every Black community, and duplicate that same reaction long term, because it needs to happen. Some of the stats that are out there now about our people are biased, are slanted one way, and then it doesn't tell the whole story. They say Black people are at the bottom of the household income stack. Like, we're at the bottom. Between white people, Asian people, Jewish people, Hispanic people, Black people are at the bottom. Household income and net worth. That's a lot of the stuff that got handed down from generations to generations for everybody else, but we never had the opportunity to have stuff handed down from generation to generation, because we were allowed to build this country, but we weren't allowed to reap the benefits from building this country. So our prosperity, kind of our equality, just recently started not too long ago when it comes to building generational wealth, when everyone else had generations back and back and back, handing it down, building upon that. It just, like I said, rabbit holes. But yeah, so that's celebrating Black Wall Street. So we're actually going to be introducing that. And Annette's I'm going to beg Annette to be on that show, because she's one of the most important people I can have to talk to all of our audience about mental health in our community, and how things that are going around us right now are affecting all of us and our young people. And we need to address it. We just have to.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
What were we saying though, Annette?
Oh, but man, that's on point. They're jumping in here with you, and I'm going to read their comments because when I started talking about when you talking about Black Wall Street, they were like, "Teach, awesome." And then Karen, I love Karen. She's an educator. She says yes. She said she taught her third grade students, about about Black Wall Street. She said it was amazing. Gwen also said that Hill Harper is working to duplicate that in our community right now. Is he an actor? He's an actor, right? He's an author. And Hill Harper, you know what you're talking about, right?
Yes, Hill Harper. He was, young Black actor.
Yes,
I love him.
Yes, for sure. So this is it needs to be duplicated for sure. And thank you for talking about that. And of course, all that I was talking about initially before you began with that was just laying the groundwork, talking about poverty, and knowing that living in poverty, it actually increases an individual's likelihood of suffering from like anxiety. This is where the psychology of it comes in, depression, and other attention problems. Yes, and so it's something that we want to evade, we want to get out of. Let's eradicate what we're in now and move forward. And I can't express how excited I am still, for you joining forces with me with this, because this is definitely something that our people need. We definitely need it. And no, we're not leaving out other races, but we know what we ourselves need to do. We need to take care of. I'm going to ask this question, whether or not you guys agree with this. There are some studies that have shown that many people think that those who are poor because they do not try hard enough not to be poor. Does anybody agree or disagree with that? That there are people, studies have shown this, that there are people who are poor, but they're poor because they don't do anything about it. Hey, Sabrina, thanks for joining us. I want to know your responses to that. And there's another one. It also says here, the American dream mentality that encourages individuals to pull themselves up by their bootstraps and march onward towards a better life has merit in its promotion of perseverance.
Oh, Annette, man.
Do you agree with this?
I'm not sure if we're gonna have enough time to. Oh my
God! No, we're not. I'm not throwing this out there. So some of you may respond and answer right now, or you may think about it, or what have you. I know this is a lot. It's a lot to take in, and I'm going to. Again, I'm just laying this because I want to throw this ball in Marcus's court, and I want to have him run with it tonight, because he has some very special information that he is going to share that is going to help you. Trust me on this. So think about that, guys. All right. Buddy says here, the story about the Black Wall Street, the history that will never be taught in the schools, not even during Black History Month. And that is a shame. But that's why we have the Marcuses. We have the Marcus. We also have the Harper Hill as well. To come in and to tell us about this, that we have experienced. We as a race, we experienced that. Now, what do we do? What do we do about that? I have so many more notes, but I want to throw it over to you. Oh my God, I really want to throw it over to you, because the other notes that I had, that's where I really got giddy with, with all the information that I researched. But go ahead, Marcus.
Okay, so the two subjects, because there's not. Oh my goodness, there's not one subject that can cure all of these topics. But let's start with the basic subject of personal finance. Right, I tell everybody, it's personal responsibility with your finance. Yes, we have a community of Black and brown kings, or Black kings and queens. But then there's the individual responsibility, right? Everyone individually has to take matters into their own hands and start getting their financial house in order. There's foundations that need to be in order that are non-negotiable when it comes to your legacy and leaving a good legacy. There are habits that need to be changed, spending habits. Black folks, we can spend some money, right? We can spend some money.
Oh, yes.
And that's not a big deal if we saved like we spent. We do not save like we spend. And that's that it just turns upside down, right? And then we get to retirement and figure out that we can't retire and then have to work until we die. So there's some things that we probably want to get in order. Number one is budget. Like, you have money coming in versus going out. There's a strategy to that, right? Most people get to the end of the month and are like, where did all my money go? That's because you don't track what's going out. You got your bills to pay, right? Get those bills paid. I tell people, pay themselves first, but pay your bills as well. Pay your bills, and then kind of find out what discretionary income you have left over. Right. And that'll tell you what financial goals you have. Right. If I want to buy a house, or if I want to pay off my kids' college, that takes money. I can't do that unless you have money. And if you don't have money, then sending your kid to college, guess what you have to rely on? Student loans, which are terrible. Right. Scholarships are awesome, but most people get student loans, and then they end up paying for those up until their 30s, 40s, or 50s. Right. Imagine paying. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. So, but you have to know what you're working with first before you can even talk about goals. And then there's there's debt. Like, I was a bill collector for 8 years. I hate debt. I hate what debt does to people. I literally, on the phone, I would call people on the phone every day, get cursed out, but I would literally hear people in the background telling their kids, tell them I'm not here. Like, on a day-to-day. So owing people money, owing other grown people money, puts us in a position where we just are out of ourselves. Right. So we show people how to eliminate their debt. Half the time they would paying it off themselves. Right. All of that extra money going to credit card companies can be going towards you. Right. Imagine, add up all of the money in interest that you paid over a credit card and put that into a 10% rate of return for whatever retirement account that you have over 20 years time. That could have been your retirement. But no, you retire the credit card companies. So it's a lot but this is why you need a financial professional to just sit there. It's like you need a doctor, like you need a mechanic. Sit down in front of them. They'll tell you if you're sick, or tell you what the symptoms are, or you tell them what the symptoms are, and then they go through the whole thing and prescribe you a solution. It's simple.
Yeah. And, he's a financial professional. He's not a mechanic. I'm not going to go to my mechanic and ask him about financial information or what I should do, right? So we should go to who has the expertise in that area. And you've had that. I do want to back up and ask you, you mentioned about you being a bill collector for so many years. Mm-hmm. Did that push you into where you are now?
Yes.
Okay.
So funny story, but true story. So reading across my screen, when we had our little cubicles, and it was like a big training floor, right? When everybody's on the phone talking, I'm collecting my money, right? I wasn't a butthole, but I was collecting my money, right? And then I'm going to the next account, and my name pops up on the screen.
Oh,
so I'm like, delete next, no. And there was a weird feeling, and I'm like, what do I do, right? Do I try? But then I started to get into that mentality of finding a way to avoid it versus running at it head first. Oh, being grateful that it came up. Oh, I didn't know that was there. Let me pay it now to feel better. No, I was trying to have that mentality, that poverty mentality of run for my bills and hopefully it disappears somewhere. So that was an eye opener for me. I knew that I did not want to end up thinking about myself like I thought about other people who could not pay their bills. What about the people who couldn't pay their bills? So that did drive me to, that was one of the factors that drove me to being a part of the solution versus part of the irritating part of owing money, which is calling people, telling them to pay a bill. Yeah.
Wow, what a revelation.
Yeah.
That was amazing. And, I always say all things work together. God set you up. God set you up. That's what I think. And you know what? And as you were talking, of course, I went into another phase there, another section, because you mentioned about your reaction to that. You immediately were like, okay, and not okay. How can I pay this? And that's still that poverty mentality.
Big time.
So we want to come out of this. Oh my gosh, you just reminded me of something. I remember, and it's probably been about a good, how old am I? Probably about a good
25
years ago. No, 25 was, I ain't seen that since half was a buck. But you'll recall that because the first college that I went to was DePaul University, straight out of high school. And unfortunately, I had to stop because of finances, the lack of finances, if you will. And I do recall that years later, life happened, I got a job or whatever, and got married and everything. And I remember this one year, and I was like, I really want to go back and finish school. I really want to go back and finish. And so I said, well, and I knew that I had to have had some, balances somewhere, I was trying to avoid them, and so I said, well, no, I'm going to take onus. I'm going to call the school. And that's what I did. I called DePaul.
Nice.
And I said, I went to school in this year, and they were like, okay, we got to hold on. Of course, they had to go back to the microfiche department. From the time that I went to school, so they had to go, and so they had to call me back. And when they called me back, now this is I'm combining this because this is a miracle that got worked out. They called me back and they said, you know what? They said, we found your information, or we looked it up or whatever. They said, but let me tell you, DePaul had a flood.
Oh, ain't got good.
Your records were washed away. They couldn't find my records because of the flood.
Woo.
She went to go and tell me how much I owed. She said, but they don't have a record of it now because of the flood. And it was thousands of dollars, I'm telling you.
Oh, wow.
I got off the phone, I ran through the house, give me my confirmation that this is what you're saying. And I took off, and I thank God for that. But I guess I said that to say, my reaction at that point in my life that year was, I'm going to take onus, and I want to come out of this, and I want to do what I need to do. I didn't know how I was going to pay it. I ain't going to tell you no story. But God,
ain't God good?
He worked it out. Hey, Eric, thanks for watching. I want to scroll back up, Marcus, because there was a comment from Buddy Gill. He said here, we as a people are the biggest consumers, and the 1% are counting on this.
Ooh, Buddy.
They'll never offer or sell us financial education. Deep. Carmen says, this is why financial literacy is so important to teach in our communities. I agree, Carmen, I agree. Sabrina said, this is good. All right, Sabrina. Carolyn says here, I must admit, I was not aware of the Black Wall Street. Okay, this is why we can educate. But it reminds me of a book I recently read, How White Folks Got So Rich, which was interesting to me. Oh, the places I could go on that comment, but I'm not. I'm not, because it'll take us off. Eric, I see you. Thank you, cousin, for coming in and joining us. Make sure you guys click that share button. Click the share button. Tonight, we're talking about the psychology of poverty, and we're talking to this financial professional here who is excellent at what he does, and he's telling us what we need to do to basically come out of it. We need to come out. Because, and I'm going to say this, Marcus, I believe that God has a wealth of transfer he's trying to give us right now.
Yes, ma'am.
And, you probably say, well, how folks ain't working, especially during this pandemic. Some folks have lost their job, but God is still in control of all of this, all of it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I believe he does not want us in poverty, because look what it leads to. Mental, and instability. It leads to a whole myriad of things. And God doesn't want that for us.
Yep.
He wants us to he wants us to prosper. Oh. I know he wants better for us.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're here tonight to tell us what else we can do.
Yes. You remember when I said, and every time you see me touch my mouth like this, that means I'm going to say something, but I'm not going to say something. I'm going to take it back. So I'll say this. Buddy, I'm going to get to your comment in 2 seconds. There's a simple, for everybody listening, I want you to close your eyes and imagine this. And then I'm going to get to the strategy, some of the strategies that we use to help people. Simple strategies. Imagine this pertaining to Buddy's comment. Imagine we are the big spenders, right? We spend a lot of money. And as much as I love my Black queens, y'all spend a whole lot of money on hair care products, facial stuff, lotions, for all that stuff. And I know why. It's because Black women are gorgeous. Black women are goddess. Black women are trendsetters. They start something and everyone follows along with it. That's
he's cleaning it up real good, sister. Go ahead, my brother.
But you all spend a lot of money on, guys do too. You all spend a lot of money on those things. Y'all spend y'all money where y'all want to, but this is my suggestion. Imagine this. Imagine more of our sisters having hair salons, nail salons, product lines, beauty salon. What happened to PCJ Girl? I think that's and all those Black lines of hair care products and things that we need. We need to bring that back. We're going to spend that money, have that do the Black Wall Street effect. Let it circulate around our community and bring everybody up, because this is what's happening right now. All of those dollars are going out of our communities, making someone else's communities richer. Yeah. And then we sit and wonder why in the world we don't have infrastructure coming our way or help with. It's a reciprocal effect, right? It's supposed to circulate and go around ourselves, not go outside our neighborhoods, right? Because what happens when the resources run out, right? Then we end up with a impoverished neighborhood, impoverished community. So that Black Wall Street, I say manage your money. But if you're gonna spend it like that, spend it amongst your people, spend it amongst your Black, as far as Black people. So, like I said, the Net Show has a market all over the place: white people, Asian people, all that stuff. But I'm just talking because I'm chocolate, and I have a concern about the wealth gap that's going on as we speak. That has to stop. No more of that. And that's going to be part of the solution. So, buddy, I appreciate your comment. That triggered something, but we talk about that a lot on Celebrating Black Wall Street. Some of the plans that we have to bring back that philosophy back into our communities. Mm-hmm. But as far as sitting with individuals real quick, there's a 6-step strategy that I talk about, and it's very simple. And all of it goes from, it's like A to B, 1 to 6. First one is the cash flow, putting together the budget, know what you have coming in versus what's going out. So you'll know exactly at the end of the month if you have discretionary income or if there's a big problem at the end of the month with no cash flow. Then there's the emergency fund. That's step number 2. When COVID-19 came, people were running around like crazy. They were furloughed from their jobs, fired, laid off with no money saved somewhere for emergencies. When there's no money saved up for emergencies, we tend to do some crazy stuff, right? That we end up regretting later. So I tell people, put aside let's start creating that habit of putting together 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly income somewhere liquid where you can reach it immediately, just in case COVID-20 comes and we have to react, right? React before it happens. Then 3 is proper debt management. We talked about that. Getting out of debt, right? Consolidating it and getting rid of it. Nobody likes debt. Nobody likes to owe another grown person money. It just makes us act a different way. So we help put together a simple plan to make sure we eliminate that, consolidate it, so that money can go towards your goals. 4, to me, is the most important because it's the foundation of a good financial plan. A lot of people don't like to talk about life insurance. And in the Black community, we're talking about it a little bit more than usual, but not enough, nowhere near enough. Mm-hmm. We're so used to hearing goofy stuff like GoFundMe's. We're so used to somebody passing. We have to pass the collection plate around the church and ask family members for money and stress folks out. That has to stop. Life insurance is supposed to take care of everything financially that you were supposed to take care of when you were here, right? Not leave that financial burden on your family. So having life insurance, and here's a little secret that should not be a secret anymore. A lot of cultures use insurance as a legacy starter, right? So if my family in the past were not millionaires, then I'm going to start that. I'm going to get about $4, $5, $6 million worth of life insurance. And if something happens to me, I'm not going to leave Carmen $6 million just to spend. I'm going to have a will and trust put in place and instructions put in place. I want my daughter, the only way she can get this $100,000 is if she starts her own business. This is for set aside for college. And if she gets a scholarship, here's instructions for her first home. I want to give $500,000 to my church so it can yield 5% every year and pay for the young kids' college coming up at year after year after year, right? There needs to be a plan put in place to make sure you have instructions for your money. Now, Carmen, she should get more than that. But she can spend too. My wife is Hispanic. She can spend too. So I want to make sure that plan is a wealthy legacy that's left from generations to come. Yeah. So putting a will and trust in place, making sure you got all your T's crossed and your I's dotted to make sure that if something happens, you're not arguing with your family members over what goes where, who's in charge of this, and it could take years. My mom experienced something like that. I have a good friend, attorney Mario Reed, who's I'm sure experienced certain things and had to counsel people on that. That just should not happen. Just sign some papers, put your instructions in writing, and leave it.
Yeah. Right. Like they always say, don't make them cry twice.
Don't make them. Oh, I love that saying. I haven't heard that before, but I'm gonna start saying it now.
My creator heard from somebody else, but yeah, don't make them cry twice.
Don't make them cry twice.
Take care of it. I remember distinctly when I first got married, I was like, okay, let's just take care of this. We ain't got to talk about it no more, but let's just get this taken care of.
Yes.
Yes. Because it was different at that point. It wasn't just me, So it's like, okay, I don't have to talk about it anymore. Just want it taken care of.
Right. Having the conversation. That's what a lot of people don't want to do. They're afraid that conversation is going to be weird or strange, but just think of the conversation that's going to happen if you don't have your affairs in order. It's going to be even more strange.
I've seen it too many times. I've worked with or seen families that have gone through that where things were not set in place, before the person passed away. And it's sad. It's sad. When all you, like you just said, all you have to do is just sign some papers, get it taken care of. But of course, you make sure you get to the right people. Don't get to somebody that's going to take advantage of you and take.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But yeah, this is good stuff. Let me. I'm hopping over here to make sure, see what you guys are saying here. I think Dr. Hill was having a conversation with herself. Let me see what it said here. He says here, ingenuity, creativity needs to be restored to our communities and households.
Hello.
And we must teach our children how to properly, save and handle money. I totally agree.
Who said that?
Dr. Treciere Hill.
Oh, Dr. Treciere Hill, bravo.
Yes. I said, who said that? Let me see here. Okay. Oh, okay. I'm reading, guys. Y'all typing faster than I can read here. Let's see. Buddy Gill says, yes, they had no emergency funds and were dependent on the government assistance, like the stimulus money, and yet they went out and purchased more hair when the tires on their car, I don't even know if I should read the rest of that. The tires on their cars were bald. Buddy, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. I don't know. I don't know. When you mentioned about the sisters going out to get hair, one of the sisters on here said, "Clean it up, preacher, clean it up."
I want to address that too, Annette. I want to address that. Because if we don't address it, there's still going to be some weird misconceptions about what he just said. Somebody somebody said something that, and I'll go. I had to stop because I should not be getting emotional about silly stuff. But when I see stuff about misconceptions out there about my people, especially if it's on social media, I'm going to interject because I know that person may be goofy, but there may be other people that don't understand that are watching. So I just feel sometimes that I need to correct certain things.
Yeah.
We are, this pandemic that happened is something different that I'm 41 years old and I haven't experienced anything like this in my lifetime. The fear that was there, the stress that was there, the stress of family members passing. So I don't knock anybody for spending money in a situation like that to relieve some stress. Mm-hmm. Like me and my lady, we had to plan some stuff, right? Just for the sake of we've never seen this before.
Yeah.
So if you want to go on vacation, take the kids out to downtown and spend the weekend and just relieve all that stuff. Mental health is when it's not going, it's bad to have negative mental stress.
Yes.
And your health is important. You can get money back, when you want, right? When the opportunity arises, but your health is, once it starts declining, it's hard to get back. So take care of that stress. Stop letting that stress in. Do whatever you can to relieve that stress in situations like this and times like now, but get your finances in order, because imagine coming to retirement and stressing your whole retirement for as long as that will be because you don't have enough money. So planning is very important. Getting your affairs in order are very important. And that's what we specialize in. That's what I make sure I do. They tell me what their goals are. How much money do you want to have coming in each month, like clockwork? You tell me an amount, we're going to come up with a strategy, an amount, a good product to put it in long term. And then every year we're going to keep going back, seeing if we're on target. If we're not, we're going to adjust. Right? If we're on target, we're going to see what we can do to do better, because we want to overshoot. So it's just financial education is key. And that's what I push a lot. I don't push products. I don't push things like that. I push financial education in our communities, because that as a whole would help us rise together versus just a product or something.
Right. Okay. You got a lot of things flowing through my mind right now. And I want to, I'm going to read this comment, and then I'm going to ask you some questions, because the information that you're giving out is definitely, something that we need to take in, individually, if you will. But I know that there are a lot of times where people are maybe resisting what you're saying.
Sure.
And we talked a little bit earlier, about why that could be. But I want to try and get around that. So let me read this comment from Carolyn first, and then I'm gonna ask you a question.
Yes, ma'am.
She did say, I did contact an attorney to get my affairs in order after suffering from COVID. And actually, she was one of my guests. Carolyn was, when I talked about COVID. I had maybe a slew of guests that had experienced COVID back in, was it July of last year? And she was one of them. So this is what she's mentioning. She said she got additional insurance as well. She did not want her son and grands to be without when she's no longer here. And that's wisdom. That's wisdom. And she, put things in motion.
Yes, ma'am.
Unfortunately, and I'm just going off of what she just said, she did that after she suffered from COVID. Now, sometimes some people are kind of pushed into it to do it, but like you said, just go sign the papers, just take care of it without having to get to the point where do I want to say this, where it's needed. It's neat. You don't understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's a necessity to have your business in order, but being forced into it is what we kind of want to avoid. So do the work. He's holding his mouth. I know. If I will. Go ahead, Marcus.
Okay. Here's the weird thing that I've noticed. I haven't sat with everybody on the planet, but I've sat with a good number of people. And I see this quite often. And I started later on to figure it out. Wealthy people know they need their finances more in order than the middle income person. Mm-hmm. And I never got that. I'm like, well, wealthy people are wealthy, right? So they don't need it. Wealthy people know how they got there. They understand. I'm not going to say they know the value of money, because middle class people know the value of money as well, but they understand it a little bit different, right? They wealthy people use money as a tool most of the time, as a tool to make babies and compound it, and then use it as resources to acquire other things that are probably appreciating, or probably something that they can leave for their next generation, their legacy. Middle America, they're working a job. And they're working so hard at a job that they leave their financial future in the hands of a 401k rep, or something like that. And then they sit back at their job and say, yep, I'm almost there. I'm almost there. And then when they finally get there, they find out some of the surprises about a 401k, and how you end up not having as much as you thought at the end of that journey, because you put that special need in someone else's hands while you were busy working. And then there's another group of people, real quick, and I'll be quick. Another group of people that I'm not going to say ego gets in the way, pride gets in the way. I don't want nobody to know my business. I made it this far and I'm still alive. I can make it on my own, right? And that's a weird, prideful attitude to have. They don't have that attitude when they sick and need to go to the doctor, and they need that doctor to save Dr. Treciere Hill to give them advice to save their lives, right? But usually, guess when they go to the doctor? When it's
too late.
Yes. So pride gets in the way a lot. Nobody wants to be embarrassed sitting in front of somebody that they don't know, talking about their intimate, personal, bad habits. And that sometimes stops people. It stopped me. Let me put myself on the platter right there. It stopped me.
Well, scooch over, because I need to be on that same platter. Yeah, I said scooch. I said that on purpose. Because as you were talking, I was chuckling to myself. I use the word chuckling. I was laughing to myself. Because that was the mentality that I had. Originally, I'm like, oh, this is funny. Or if anybody, would try to, okay, we can help you do this with your finances, or get this together. I don't want you to know about how.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so many of us do that. And you're right. It is that pride. It is. And I want to know how you get around that. Now, you actually started, when you're talking, you started answering the question that I hadn't even asked yet, because I was going to ask you about, the reasons why individuals don't, you're giving out this information here tonight, when you run into this with people, why are people, like that? Why, wouldn't they just, you have a nice face, you're very handsome, you don't sound like you're coming out.
It's my big teeth that scares them. I got big, huge teeth.
As to why, tell me, why do people don't respond favorably, if I can say that, to what you're delivering? Dr. Hill said I'm a lot older than I'm a lot older than I look when I said scooch over. I'm sorry, that caught me. Forgive me, that caught me off guard. But yeah, why? Is that the only reason that you see? Well, you named a few of them. You named about the being, too prideful or what have you. So I guess I should probably, since you already answered that, How do you get around that? How do you get around that?
Well, there's several different ways because there's several different types of people. There's people who just put off. I'll do it later. I got all the time in the world. And we've had clients come back to us years later to say, you remember that thing you talked about? I heard you say about GoFundMe and stuff. Well, my family just blah, blah, blah. And I never want that to happen again to any one of us. Can we please put something in place? Or you told me about how 401ks really work, and I told you about my goals, and I said, no, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm just let it sit because I don't want to take it out and something happens. And then they got to doing weird things like taking loans on it, getting penalties, not understanding that when you, for the most part with a 401k, when it's time to take out, they tax the big harvest, right? Versus taxing the seed at the beginning. So they're taking out more at the end when it's time to call it quits from your job and enjoy life. So you have less, which means the calculation that you had to retire on, now you have a shortfall, which means you have to go work somewhere, make some income to supplement what you were missing and what you left out. So it's just, you have different people. And then you have some people who need to be exposed to some concepts in financial education, right? They're not around it all day because they're either taking care of the kids or at work or sleeping because they're so tired, working so hard. They just need to get around people and take a little action to get on one of your segments or another financial segment to just hear some stuff. And once things starts to click and fit in place to your plan, then take a little act. That'll motivate you a little bit more to take action. You know, you got a few different kinds of people, but let me say this, and I'm gonna end that part because I told you, Carmen, said just keep it short. On the Celebrating Black Wall Street segments that we do, I like to celebrate a lot of Black people in the community that are influencers, business owners, specialists like you, specialists in mental health advocate, and just show them off to everybody. Because I believe if we start getting more people in front of Black greatness, then that alone, everybody wants to be a part of something sexy, even if they don't understand what it is. Everybody wants to be a part of a movement or something that's about to happen that's big. And once we put ourselves in a position where more people are talking about the importance of financial education, people will just latch on just because, well, they doing this, so I guess I might need to look at it. I'll take those people too, right? I was kind of one of those type of people back in the days, somewhere.
This is so funny, but he's transparent. I'm hopping back over here. Let's see. Carolyn says I did contact and wait. I'm sorry. She had a reply to that. I wish I had done earlier, contacted and got her business in order. I did have insurance and I had written notes to my son, but this made it legal. Oh, okay. That's good. Sandra Richardson, thank you, Auntie San. She said this is very good information. Listen, before I read these other comments, I want to tell you guys that, again, first and foremost, please make sure you share. Click the share button. We're talking tonight about the psychology of poverty with this wonderful financial professional, Marcus Hill. And yes, I am on at a different time tonight, different segment, but we wanted to make sure that we kind of reach a little bit, a few more people with this particular segment because it is of great importance. So if you have any questions for Mr. Hill regarding, finances or even what he's discussing tonight, some of the things maybe he said, you want him to clarify a little bit more, go ahead and throw your questions into the comment section, throw your comments into the comment section. Please engage with us on tonight. And of course, I am definitely going to make sure that you know who you should contact before the night ends to make sure that you get everything in order. I know that God does things for a reason. He has time in his timing is not our timing.
Yes, ma'am.
This may have been on some of you all's hearts and to do is take care of it. Now you're listening to this show on tonight. So hopefully it's a push for you to get it done and to get it taken care of. Let's see here, Beatrice. Oh, thank you. She says she has to. Oh, okay, that's fine. Thank you. Please make sure you rewind to get the entire segment on tonight. Buddy says, I love what Marcus is promoting and teaching. We need to be exposed to these money-making strategies and plans. Understanding interest when we get loans or finance a purchase.
Oh, yes.
Learning the stock market and other investment opportunities.
Yes.
It has to be more than playing the lottery. Buddy Gill, I love me some Buddy Gill, but that is so true. Oh my God. This is, come on, throw in questions you got for him that he can answer for you on tonight. Angela, hey, we just had you on last week. We appreciate you, Angela. She says, yes, many times we are not exposed to financial savviness. Nope. We have to incorporate it into our lives. Be around people who are financially stable. Oh, yes. Birds of a feather. Come on, let's flock together now. Yeah. Maysola says, I agree. Oh, thank you for watching, Maysola. This is Carolyn's sister, so they're on here tonight. I agree. We need exposure to teach us how to spend, how to save, manage, and keep our money in our community. Parents get insurance for children while they're young. Yeah. So
key point, Carol.
You want to elaborate, because that's another thing too. Yeah, and you mentioned about, or did you say this, or did Dr. Hunt say this about leaving a inheritance for our children? Did you say that?
I'm sure Dr. Hunt said it, and I'm sure he told it to me as well.
That's scripture. That's scripture. And that is something that can, add a little leverage to what you're talking about on tonight. So let's talk about this. I mean, well, I know you did mention about, unfortunately, when someone passes away, not passing the collection plate or doing that GoFundMe type thing, making sure you have everything in order. But not only is it important, and you can agree, I'm sure you can agree with me, not only is it important to get that insurance for your children, but of course also to teach them.
Yes.
To teach them the importance of it.
Yep.
So if you go to somebody like a Marcus Hill, he can instruct you and teach you, and you can kind of pass that on, Come on, talk to me.
So here's what a lot of people don't even like to talk about insurance because they equate it to death, right? Nobody likes to talk about death, but insurance is one of the key financial foundational pieces that we can ever have when it comes to, don't use the word legacy if you're not talking about insurance somewhere in there. Then it's education on insurance, right? Most people know insurance as my family gets a check when I die, right? But there are many types of insurance. There's long-term care insurance. There's living insurance with living benefits. Like living benefits will actually, the provider will send you a big check, right? If I go to the doctor and they say, Marcus, you got 12 months to live, and I have a $500,000 insurance policy, some insurance company will send me 90% of that face amount, just like that, to go get better. I would rather have $400,000, $350,000 to try to get better than to just be like, oh, well, I'll just waste away. And no, that's living benefits with insurance. And then there's cash value life insurance. There's a lot of tax loopholes that a lot of wealthy people use to beat the retirement game. Mm-hmm. Cash value life insurance is one of those, along with a Roth IRA. Cash value life insurance is, I have an insurance policy and it's shielded from the government as seeing it as an investment or savings plan. So I can throw as much money, as long as you follow the guidelines, I can throw as much money in it as possible, get that compounding interest, and not pay a dime in taxes when it's time to retire off of it, right? That's what wealthy people use. Wealthy people don't go with the 401k like a lot of people do, and then end up regretting it later. And that's just some of the loopholes. That's why it's important to sit down with a professional, because your mechanic don't know stuff like that. Right? Your doctor doesn't know stuff like that. And you have to be able to, it's your money, right? It's your money, it's your legacy. Who else's interest is more than yours? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So insurance is monumental when it comes to legacy planning, because it takes care of you if you live too long, takes care of you if you die too soon, and then it takes care of your pockets if you kind of start to run out when it comes to other things.
I haven't grasped that live too long type thing. How does that look?
So if I have there's term insurance, and I love term insurance because it fits the way it fits. Term insurance is for a specific term, right? If I say I only need it for 20 years and I make it out alive, good. I pass it, I don't get no money back, and the insurance isn't in place anymore, right? That's good for some people. And then there's cash value, which lasts until you die, right? You keep it's permanent insurance, right? So if I'm putting a certain amount into it every year, it's paying for insurance and then also paying into a pot that's yielding interest, my money pot, right? So if I live long enough, 60, 70, 80 years old, I got a big pot of money and my insurance policy in place where I can be like, all right, insurance, you stay there just in case I die. I still want to leave my family this. But let me start grabbing off of that tax-free income and just go on vacation or live life the way I'm supposed to, right? Insurance has a lot of different components that you can add to it, whether it's a rider, whether it's just a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, here come the questions. Let me see. Let me read the statement first. Buddy says, we have no patience when it comes to our money. When you're impatient, you tend to make uninformed decisions.
Ooh.
You're void of wisdom.
Ooh.
That was a really nice way to say that, buddy. That was very nice.
Good statement.
Okay, a question on the floor. Marcus, do you advise to invest in real estate or the stock market or insurance?
So I am not a real estate advisor. I don't have my real estate license, but I do believe in buying property, and whether it's flipping it or leaving it to your next generation, fixing it up and leaving it to your family, next generation. I believe in that 100%. That's how we that's how we leave our next generation, our legacy, right? As the Bible says.
Yeah.
I am not a stock advisor, right? So I won't even talk about that part, but I will say this, especially since it's being recorded. I will say this. It's okay to understand. I believe more people should understand how the stock market works, right? Stock market is unpredictable, right? But long term, there's been a projection that actually has had an upward ramp, right? And if you're young enough, you have a long time to play around and invest and have your money do all kinds of crazy up and down stuff. But if you're close to retirement, then you have to be careful and you have to talk to an investment, a stock advisor on if it's a wise decision to put a large portion of your scheduled retirement into stock or things like that. You want to make sure that you have your priorities straight: long-term, midterm, short-term goals, financial goals. And then if your advisor says, here, you got these taken care of, you got a little money to invest in stocks, do whatever fits you, right?
Okay.
Insurance, yeah, absolutely. I believe in investing in insurance. Let me tell you one reason why. A lot of people put their money in banks, right? Mm-hmm. Have their faith in putting their money in banks. Here's what the banks do. They give you about 1%, right? 1% rate of return. And then they give themselves, after they reinvest it, maybe 12, 13, 14, 15% rate of return. So they're making money off of your money. Banks, guess what banks invest in? Banks invest in insurance, right? Banks don't invest in other banks. They invest in insurance, your money in insurance. So why are you I believe in having your money in the bank for an emergency fund, but when it comes to retirement, eliminate the middleman and do what the banks are doing with your own money, right? And have your money work for you. So investing in insurance, absolutely.
Okay. Now that part you could talk about.
That part I could talk about, yes.
That was actually a great question. Thank you, Maysola, for that, because with this segment that I'm introducing, this psychology of poverty, all of this comes in together. Marcus, I needed. I was gonna say I needed him as my first guest because he's talking about that aspect and talking about the insurance and all that he's mentioning on today. I'm also going to have other guests come in as well, and I actually do have actually two guests scheduled. One is going to talk about the stock market.
Awesome.
And then I'm going to have another one to talk about real estate and flipping houses.
Nice.
Come on. I'm really excited because these are all brothers. These are all my brothers. You know what I'm saying? I got my brothers coming in talking and this something just hit me.
Come on.
You all are the head of the house. You're the head. And so who better to come in and talk to us about these finances and talk to us about getting out of poverty, and the psychology of poverty and financial freedom and all of that. Who better?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Give me some knowledge that I had all males that's coming in talking about it for the different, subjects that just hit me just now. But again, God, he was working that thing out. He was just dropping things, in place. And I believe that is what is definitely needed. Okay, let me see here because they're
the head and women are the neck that keep everything together.
All right, let's see here. And I appreciate your response. That was a great response. Hopefully that answered Maysola's question. Let me see if she had any follow-up. Insurance or annuity was her follow-up question.
Depends on your goal. Those are products, right? So it depends on what your goal is. Like insurance, if you're the older you get, the more expensive the insurance is. So I think you're asking cash value life insurance, permanent insurance, or annuity. I think that's what you're asking. Then you're going to be, when it comes to insurance, you're going to be paying a lot more on the insurance side of it and less in the cash accumulation side. So the cash accumulation part might not work as well. And depending on if you can follow the guidelines and go as long as the annuity period is, then investing in an annuity might work a little bit better than insurance. If that makes any sense. So they're two different products, but depending on what your goals are, everything narrows down to what your goals are. I don't just say annuity is better, insurance is better. I have no clue unless we find out what the goals are.
Excellent response. Hopefully that answered your question, Maysola. Thank you so much for throwing that in. Let's see here. Angela asked the question, what happens if you live out your term policy?
What was that question again? I'm so sorry.
What happens if you, excuse me, maybe I read it wrong and I did. What happens if you outlive your term policy? Maybe that's why you didn't understand what the question was.
Well, term is, this is why both of them are good products, but I like personally permanent insurance better because you keep it permanently. So if I have a 10-year term insurance policy and I'm healthy at this 10 year at the start of this insurance policy, I'm healthy, blood work is good. They rate me as A rated, and I get a good price. But after that 10 years, something happens. I start getting high blood pressure, some sort of illness. I may have hit COVID or something happened to me. And I'm either going to pay a lot more in insurance because that 10-year term is over. So I have to get re-rated again. So health is going to be different. Age is going to be different, right? Males tend to pay higher insurance than women. It's going to be a totally different picture from the 10 years. Permanent insurance, you keep it, right? You keep it for the term for your whole term of your life, and you're good.
Well, that actually sounds a little bit explanatory, self-explanatory, should I say. That's a great question. Let us know if that answered your question, Angela.
Hopefully.
Dr. Hill says, so if I live longer than that 20-year term, is that when I lived too long? Remember when I was asking about the word?
Yes. Yes. If you're not prepared properly, That's a yes. That's a yes. You should be scared of a situation like that. Unless, so people just have, some people just use term insurance because I have a 20-year mortgage. The kids are going to be out the house by the time this is over, and I just want to leave them the house, right? But just in case during that 20-year period of me paying off the house, something happens to me, that insurance will pay off the house goes to the kids, right? But it just depends on what the person wants. If they just saying, look, I just want to leave my kids this, or I just want to leave the church this, or a foundation this, this insurance will take care of that period of time in between until that's paid off and done, and then I can just leave it, right? And then some people just have both. It's okay to have both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So as you guys are throwing your questions in here, and when he responds, let us know if that answer, if you need a little bit more clarity.
Yes.
He's giving awesome responses, so it's good for me, but I need to know if it's good for you. Let's see. Michelle Casey has joined us. Thank you for watching, my little sis. I appreciate you. Buddy says we need to see us doing it to show that we can do this.
Yes, buddy.
If we choose to.
I'm gonna say something that I keep responding to Buddy's comments. Buddy, you on a roll. You are on a roll.
Buddy, yeah, I love when he comes in. Go ahead, you can finish.
We made it through slavery, segregation, redlining, massacre. We made it through all of this stuff, and we still strong, beautiful Black people.
Come on now.
This should be a piece of cake, but it's gonna take. Here's where the whole thing comes in. This is where the magic comes in. It's the unity part. Because one or two of us doing financially good, financially okay, is not okay. The unity side, the getting together, showing the importance of education. We owe the younger generation owes it to the generation before them because they work so hard to not take that for granted. Like they literally owe them because they wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that generation. So we got to take ownership and be unified with it. I hate the fact that after this George Floyd situation and Breonna and all these other Black kings and queens that passed, it woke us up, right? And not like one of the past wake ups where we woke up, got excited, and then fell back asleep a couple months later. I think some of this stuff all connected together at one point just boiled over to just being more permanently aware, being aware and taking action. And as a community, as controlling over $1 trillion in our community, Black and brown community, just think about this. If we control that $1 trillion that we're spending, we can take care of poverty in the Black community. We can start so many businesses. We have our own economy, right? That's our money. It's just going outside of our community. Keep it in our community and build our community up. Money isn't everything, but it sure gets some weird stuff out the way, right? And the Bible says money answereth all things. We need to get the weird stuff out the way, right? And start having those resources to do what God put us here to do, not spend every day worrying about if the bill's going to be paid or if I'm gonna have gas in my car. We can't be children of God, and we can't be 100% children of God if we spend an every day worrying about bills, and then Sunday we go to church and then come out and we worry about the same doggone bills, right? Financially, we need to become financially free as a community because there's some amazing things we can do. I'm gonna say this one thing in that, and I know I keep saying that and I'm gonna quit. This is why I love my people so much. Akon, some of you know Akon. This is a sprinkle of genius of Black people. Akon came up with a plan to gather about $6 to $8 billion to build a Wakanda-like city in Africa because he loved his people, Black people, so much that he wanted us to come see how other Black people love us so much, right? Versus us having to put up with what we put up with when we put up with it, right? And that's the idea of what Black people are all about. We spend for the last 405 years, we looked out for each other. Well, like had each other's back, right? Even though the system was pinned against us so many times, It's like we have to keep that going. We have to go back to the grandmas who got the family together on Sundays, right? Our parents before us, my parents saved way better than my generation. So my generation got to get it together. And I'm scared for the next generation because they just YOLO all over the place. All right. So that education, bringing back that unity together, being actively making some moves, that has to happen because that wealth gap has to close. Not because we're comparing ourselves to somebody else, but because we need to start living up to what our potential really is. And if we don't do that, we can't complain for nothing. I'm done. I told you I had to cover my mouth every time I do that. I'm sorry.
No, you don't need to be done because I am picking up what you're putting down. This is some good information. Oh my gosh. I see somebody on here yelling, yes. Who's that, Angela? She said they keep trying to destroy us and we keep elevating higher and higher. All right now. Yes. I'm scrolling back up because you all were typing as he was talking. Maysola said, yes, that answered my question. My goal is making money and keeping the money I make. Oh, say that. That's good. That's good. You have to have a goal. You have to have, you know, in order what you want to do with the money.
Yes, ma'am.
I think you said earlier, it depends upon what you want to do. That's a simple question. You know, what are you trying? What are you trying to accomplish?
Everybody's individual. There's no set solution for that blankets everybody. Everyone's individual. Just like going into the doctor, you walk in there, everybody's going to have some different problem. It takes a right professional to diagnose it, put together a strategy and a solution.
Y'all see why I wanted to have him on first? Yeah, I hope y'all see. I'm over here just smiling like a big sister. I'm just teasing like a cat. This is good. And you can tell when he gets into that mode. Oh my goodness, he gone. I just let him flow. Just flow.
Because I love.
You can tell how important this is to him. And you know, let's take heed to what he's saying. Angela said it did answer my question. That has been her concern with term insurance. Okay. Let's see here. Other comments. Michelle says Akon is from Senegal, West Africa, and has always taken care of his country. Okay. He is to be commended. Yeah. Yeah, that's wonderful. And thank you for bringing that up too in your response, Marcus. Dr. Hill says here, we're in a wealth transfer. Come on, what do you want when I said that? We are in a wealth transfer and we need to know what to do with that money. So this is what I'm going to do. I want you to unpack what Dr. Hill just said here and tell us what further. I mean, whether it's just call me up so I can help you or what do we need to do? Because, you know, we don't want to just talk all night and then not have, you know, a resolve or an avenue for people to, you know, accept this wealth transfer. Because I'm firmly believing, Carmen threw it in here. She said, I see it too, Annette. He's so, talking about you. Oh, yes. Yeah. I know you see it, Carmen. Right. But she said she's so proud of you. That's beautiful. That's right. Encouraging, sweetie. That's what you do. Carolyn says, my son always reminds me that before integration, we had our own communities, our own stores, cleaners, gas station, car repairs, etc. We kept our money in our community and we helped one another. And see, that's the thing. I was looking at a YouTube video some years ago where it talked about, it gave us the, what's the words, it's some stats on how our money or the amount of money that we keep in our neighborhood.
Yes, ma'am.
It's so low now.
See, look, Black Wall Street was a year. Right now, it's 6 hours.
Yeah. But we'll take it out and we use it, but we don't keep it in our, we got to get back. How do we get this wealth transfer, Marcus? I want you to come on and talk to us and kind of
Yes.
Wrap this up a little bit, you
Yes,
know.
I'm wrapping it up because I know.
There's so much more to say, though. It's like we can't even, you know, we trying to scratch the surface. We're trying to, you know, a little bit here. Hopefully there's something that's being said tonight that is going to grab your attention to let you know I need to, what is my position? What do I need to do to eradicate poverty?
That's it. First, personal responsibility, then community responsibility. Personal responsibility is getting your own finances looked at, right? I love the fact that we wholeheartedly sit with our clients for free, right? There's no hidden agenda. There's no slap me a $600 check under the table. It's none of that stuff. We do that not because the value isn't there. It's because we know you'll get that done quicker. You get it done quicker. And then when you get responses, when you get a good result from it, then you're gonna send me that. That's how you pay me. You send me referrals, right? And I have a board on my office where it's tacking up how much money we just gave back to our Black community, our whole community legacy when it comes to insurance. That number just keeps ticking up, and I'm getting excited every time it ticks up. So personal responsibility, having your finance, make sure you're on target for your retirement, make sure you're on target for the picture of the way you want your legacy to look and the plan that you need to put in place and the instructions to have what if something happens to you too soon, right? If you need to reach me, I don't know, I'm not sure how you want to do it in that, but I'm always here at my office, or if the client is not scared with COVID, have my mask on and go visit them and do it right there in front of them so they don't have to drive out to me. So have your own finances looked at. It's free. You know, that's kind of my second favorite word besides my wife's name. And just get it done. Let me get brownie points.
You're ready to say that, like, oh my God, he is really, really rolling this in here.
Can I leave?
Go ahead. I was going to tell Carver to be on guard, but go ahead. What'd you say?
I'll leave my information. I don't mind giving my number out on social media. It's just a phone number. Area code 773-672-0975. If you need to contact me, or if you want them to contact Annette, contact Annette first, because Annette, no, please. Because Annette probably knows you way more than I do, and she can connect us at any given time. So I guess I shouldn't have put my number out there. Because it is Facebook Live, right?
They caught that. Well, you know, I was just about to ask him that. So yeah, you can contact me. You can inbox me.
Yes, please.
You can email me. I will go ahead and put my information in the comment section so you guys can contact Marcus. I can be the conduit.
Yes.
And make sure you guys get a hold of him, because I'm telling you, this is something you need to do. You need to take care of. And let me say this. I don't want anyone to think that I'm saying everyone is in poverty, that you are poor.
It's not. Yes.
That's not the purpose of this segment. That's not what we're saying. We're just trying to get you to get that transfer of wealth there. All right. There's more. There's more.
Yep.
There's more for us. And God wants us to have it. So hopefully I said that right. So yeah, you guys can email me. I'm putting my email in here.
Yes.
And then you can contact me. I will make sure you get to Mr. Hill. And he is, oh my God, when I tell you he is going to be ready to assist you. Woohoo!
Because we have a goal.
Yes, he is ready. I'm going to put my phone number in here too. I normally air it. So let's see here. You can email me at GetcaughtinANet. As simple as that, at gmail.com. Or you can call me, area 505-552-ANET, Annette, 2638. All right. So we're going to make that simple enough for you. And I think I have Marcus on speed dial.
You're at number, I keep saying I'm not going to get cut today. You're at number.
Don't even do it. Don't even do it. Don't even do it.
I had to count how many people were going to cut me if I said that.
Right. Please don't do it.
Okay.
But no, on the serious side, I pinned that guy, so it's at the bottom of the live feed. So email me or call me,
Yes.
and I will make the connection with you and Marcus. As soon as I get your message, I mean, it's going straight to him. Okay, and we want you guys to grab a hold of this. There's going to be more coming, and now this is not Marcus's only time to come on for this segment. I want you guys to know that, and I want him to know that too. Did that to him.
Save a little bit.
You know, because there's so much more to touch on. This comment here I'm going to read. Angela says, poverty is a state of mind, and it shows up in how we handle our finances.
Oh, brilliant, Angela.
Oh, I throw my hands up, Angela. I throw my hands up, and in agreement with you. So thank you. Thank you so much for saying that. Buddy says, Marcus is a brother that I love to rub elbows with. Yep. Mm-hmm. People who are striving to fly and soar and teaching others to do the same. Blessings to you, sir.
That's how we come up, buddy.
That's how it is. We're going to make that connection too. So you can soar with them. You can rub some elbows, buddy. All right. All right. And anyone else, because there are opportunities when you contact Marcus. I don't know if you want to talk about that before we leave off the air or not, or what have you. I see you, Apostle. My co-host on Thursday night joined us. How are you, sir? Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Do you want to leave us with anything?
Yes.
In on tonight. Yes, sir.
I'm going to finish that statement. Remember, personal responsibility. Take a look at your own finances and make sure you have your house in order. Secondly, is community responsibility. We are our own brothers and sisters keepers. If we don't look out for each other, nobody will. Do not be mistaken. Nobody will, right? I won't even go any further. So start building each other up, right? The reason why I love Annette so much is because she builds everybody up, and then she shows them off in front of everyone for everyone else to see. And if we can have that become infectious, we start loving ourselves more versus trying to figure out what everyone looks at us as or thinks of us as. And then we have to change it based on what they look at us as. No, let's start loving ourselves, looking at each other like we are kings and queens, and understand that God has that wealth transfer laid up for us, y'all. Let's just go after it, but it's going to take some good financial sense, some good financial planning. So I appreciate you in that 100%.
Oh, and I appreciate you. You just don't know. You just don't know. Come on, guys, hop on this ship, this boat, whatever you want to say, this yacht. Come on, hop on this yacht. Yes, do that. Well, before we get going, I'm telling you, but you always have an opportunity and always have a chance to hop on. It's not, if you don't hop on now, you're not ever going to get on, because we are taking what you say, personal responsibility and community responsibility. Okay. So we want to make sure we did that. I thought you was the man. Who are you talking about? Somebody said Marcus is the man. Oh, okay. All right. All right. I agree. He's the man.
I feel like I know Buddy.
Okay. Apostle Hunt said Marcus is the man. Then Buddy said, I thought you was the man.
Apostle Brooks, thank you.
Buddy, let me tell you, they both.
Oh no, Apostle Hunt. That's my apostle.
Apostle Hunt.
My pastor.
That's right. They both, in my eyes, they both are. So I appreciate them. But yeah, this was good. Hopefully, again, this was something that you guys can take with you. There was something that was said on tonight that will that was intriguing, that will ignite something within you, so that you can change your finances, so that you can receive this wealth transfer. That I firmly believe in my heart that God is trying to. He's been setting us up. He's been setting us up. Right. Oh my goodness, I am going to get in trouble. Oh, I forgot.
Spoken word.
Spoken word. Spoken word.
I was looking forward to that.
Lord Jesus, I don't know what happened with me. I'm gonna play it in 1 second. Let me get it set up, and this is going to help me.
Looking forward to it.
Were you really?
I was. I always look forward to that at the end of your segments.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I like to introduce it and say Elder Kevin McGee loves to pen a spoken word for my body and soul on a weekly basis, and he did do one for this evening, and so I'm appreciative of that. And I'm going to actually play this. The spoken word again, it relates to the topic of the day, and I thought this was a really wonderful one that he actually penned. Make sure you follow him on Saturdays at 12 noon Central Standard Time on Intellectual Radio. The name of his show is Connections. And so let's take a listen to what we have here on tonight.
Like the Jeffersons, we're trying to move on up and get a piece of the pie. Obtain the brass ring that represents our success. Give us a reason to live and a reason to drive and strive because we've made it and now we can experience happiness. But if you flip the coin to the other side, we may try to find ourselves keeping our heads above water, making a way when we can, trying to convince ourselves that we're having a good time, yet being reminded of the pain of not having what we want. And we find ourselves sad in the midst of good times. Is our mental stability based upon what we have or don't have? Does being in financial good health guarantee our happiness? Or does our lack of wealth guarantee us a ticket into the land of depression where we find ourselves sinking in a quagmire of hopelessness? Just what is the connection between our wealth and mental health? Or perhaps there is no connection, but merely a perspective based upon societal guidelines that we have adopted and ratified as our constitution of happiness.
Wow. What'd you think?
I always love that spoken word.
Yeah,
I loved it.
that was
It's brilliant.
it was right on time. It was right on time.
Yep.
And he's good. Carmen
Very
said this is
good.
so good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, thank you again, Elder McGee. You hit that out of the park again, and it's very pertinent to tonight's conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Reading these last few comments before we end, Maysela says, I have read that in 1860, Blacks in America had a combined net worth of half of 1 point. Is that what that is? 1 percentage point? I don't know if you missed the word there. In 2001, our combined net worth is half a percentage point. Oh, okay, half of one initially in 1860, but now it's half a percentage point. I I think that's what she's saying.
Which means it's going the wrong direction right now,
Right,
if I'm not mistaken.
right, exactly. Okay, this is deep. Thank you for that information. You
Yeah.
guys are on it. It sounds like somebody's been doing some research themselves, and it seems like you are setting yourself up for the wealth transfer. And I hope that that's what you're doing. Again, this special segment, the psychology of poverty, is what we are focusing on. My next, thank you, Maysel, right? He said that we have not grown. My next segment for the psychology of poverty will be in two weeks from today.
Yes.
And I will feature Larry Jones, and he is going to come and talk about the stock market. Stock Up with Larry. He has a YouTube channel, and that man is on point. Over 300,000 subscribers now, and they're listening to the man. He's got something to say. So, Marcus, we're going to have to finagle when we can get you back,
Yes, ma'am.
okay? Because I want to continue this on, and this will actually merge in with his Black Wall Street segments that he does as well. And I'm so glad that you have taken the stance that you have taken and doing what you are doing to get us back on track
Yes,
of where
ma'am.
we need to be. And you know what I mean by us, our brothers and our sisters,
Yes, ma'am.
back on track to where we need to be. So I appreciate you. I thank you for
Appreciate
all
you, my
that you do.
sister.
All right. And you know, coming and doing this evening session with me on tonight.
It's
It could have
fun.
been, I'm sure there are many other things that you could have been doing, right? Uh,
I don't know. When it comes to Annette, when Annette says drop what you're doing and come on the show, you drop what you're doing and come on the show.
blame me, guys. No, but actually, we were scheduled for 12 noon today, and I asked him. I said, "Would you mind if we switch it to the evening. I wanted to see if I can get the people when they get off work and kind of talk about this a little bit more with them. So he said yes. Buddy says, yes, please have Marcus back on the show. That's an order. Ooh, you paying my bills, Buddy?
I like Buddy.
We gotta get out of here. Let me play my end jingle, guys. And then you guys, please make sure you stick with us. Get caught. All right, guys, you know what I tell you at the end of every broadcast? Make sure you stay safe. Please wash your hands. You still should wear your mask. I know some of you all probably gotten a vaccine. Wear your mask. You see that mask over there? Wear your mask. 6 feet. Do your physical distancing, should I say. All right. And make sure you guys are always safe. We want you to stay safe. There's a lot of things going on, a lot of things still happening, even with this pandemic. So please make sure you stay safe. All right, we're going to get out of here. I see I hear alarms ringing, so I'm going to get out of here, and we will see you.
Love you, sister.
Peace, everybody.